Hi, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jordaline, in case you didn't know. Welcome to my channel. Hi. Today, we're going to be talking about my February wrap up and the books that I read in February. How exciting for you. Why did I say for you? For you, for me, for everyone. My makeup today is honestly a little bit crazy. Don't judge me. It looks like a lot, and it is. Let's start talking about the things that I read. I think I read like eight-ish books in February. But before that, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. In case you don't know, BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% all online. I've honestly been in therapy for, I want to say, close to 5 or 6 years at this point, and I can't recommend therapy enough. Like, especially if you are struggling or like you know that something isn't right. I can't even describe to you the impact that having therapy has had on me. I'm a different person because of therapy, and I'm a better person because of therapy. There's just so much to gain from it, not only in emotional intelligence and in ways of coping, but also in ways of like living. It's also just like wonderful to sit down and talk about all of the secret little things that you hold on to that you don't tell anybody, and just blurt them out in front of somebody and have them not even react, because that's their job. Their job is to be non-judgmental. I cannot recommend therapy enough. Please go to therapy. And if you do go to therapy and you do go to BetterHelp, just know that they have available 25,000 licensed therapists, all of who specialize in different things. If you have BPD, if you're struggling with anxiety or depression, if you have OCD, etc., 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 or even if you want a therapist that comes from a feminist perspective, these things you can pick and choose with your therapist. And what's even better is if you don't like your therapist, like say you guys just like don't get along, you guys just like aren't like vibing, which is totally fine. That's like totally normal. Sometimes you just like don't vibe with people. It's like whatever. You can just see another therapist. You can just find another therapist. It really is quite easy. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. If you're interested in trying out BetterHelp, check out the link in my description and get 10% off your first month with www.betterhelp.com/Jordaline Reads. Again, that's www.betterhelp.com/Jordaline Reads and get 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. Take care of yourself. Go to therapy. It's going to change your life, I swear to God. Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Let's get into the things, okay? Okay, let's talk about the books that I read in February, okay? Let's get started. Now, in case you don't know, in case you're new to my wrap-ups, this is how it works, okay? We talk about the books from my least favorite to my most favorite. So let's get started. My least favorite book of the month isn't surprising, like literally to me, to you, to anyone. You just like need to look at the cover and like read the title and you know it's not going to be good. And that is Wet Hot Allosaurus Summer by Lola Faust. This was even more dog shit than I thought it would be. I received this book, first of all, let's just say, from my best friend Samantha over at My Manga Space. You should go follow her if you like manga, if you like comics. She's the best. She gifted this to me for Christmas as like a little joke, you know? It's like a little fun, cute thing. And it's like very funny. It's like dinosaur smut. You look at it and you're like, that's shit. Like, obviously, that's trash. But it's like probably gonna be fun trash. No, it was just trash. It was just stupid. We only have in this book, the first 33 pages of the cover story. 33 pages, 2 chapters, maybe 3 chapters, either way. No, it's 2 chapters. It's 2 chapters. The rest of this tiny novella is excerpts from other stories. And then like these weird things where it's like, ooh, dinosaur tips. It's just weird. I don't like this. Like, I honestly thought about buying the second book because I was like, ooh, that could be fun and cute. No. If you're looking at this and being like, ooh, that sounds fun or stupid, I'm gonna buy it because it seems like, you know, easy. It's not even that. It's like stupid. So, shame on you, Lola Faust, for only including 2 chapters of the story. Like, that makes no sense. Anyway, I hate it. My second to last least favorite book was Nod by Adrian Barnes. In case you don't know what this is about, Nod is like an apocalyptic horror novel about this guy. He goes to bed, you know, wakes up in the morning, and his girlfriend is like, oh my god, I did not sleep a wink. I could not sleep at all. I'm like not even tired. And he's like, that's weird. And then they find out that everyone else didn't sleep. Like, everyone that they talked to was like, oh, I just didn't sleep at all. The next day after that, again, his girlfriend doesn't sleep. Neither does everyone else. Thus, the apocalypse begins. But our main character can sleep. So his girlfriend and everyone else on Earth is going mad because, you know, sleep deprivation. And he's just like chilling. He's like, what's that? Like, he's completely fine. To be honest with you, Tiffany, I DNF'd this. Why do I have a pen? Probably maybe like 70 to 80% of the way through. There were a few things I didn't like. And there were a few things I did like. Let's talk about them, okay? I did like just the general premise. I thought that was interesting. I thought the idea of everybody on Earth like slowly losing their minds because of sleep deprivation was a really cool idea. And I liked the way that the author, Adrian Barnes, who by the way passed away, RIP, I like the way that he executed it because it's like a very slow, deliberate decline. What I didn't like about the book was the tone or like the voice, his narration. It just like didn't do it for me. It was giving Cargo Shorts. It was giving System of a Down, like fan, but like not in a good way. Cause like System of a Down is cool, but you know the exact kind of guy that I'm talking about. That guy who's just like too into System of a Down and it's like weird. That's the vibe. That's the vibe. I honestly just stopped caring. The main character annoyed me so much that I was just like, why do I give a flying fuck? Ted, whatever your name is. His name is Paul. Of course his name is fucking Paul. Also, can I just say, it is such a cliche. Like, white straight men in horror novels are always like writers. They're always like authors. Was that just Stephen King? Like did he start that and then everyone was like, yes, let's do it. I'm just done with it. Like, it's such a cliche at this point. Anyway, I DNF'd this. I wouldn't recommend it unless you want like that kind of vibe. And by that kind of vibe, I mean Cargo Shorts and System of a Down. Like, fanatic. Next, let's talk about this book, which is another book that I didn't fully love, but we're going to talk about it, okay? Because I do have nice things to say about it as well. And that is episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. I was so excited for this, dude. I was so ready. I was ready for Mr. DeLuey to just slap me across my face and for me to be like, thank you. I love it. Do it again. You know, like, I was ready. For some reason that I can't deduce, Craig was like, what if the first half of this book was amazing? And we, the readers, were like, oh my god, Craig, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. I love that, Craig. I love that for us. And then what if Craig, Mr. DeLuey, was like, and then what if the second half was actual trash? And we, the readers, were like, no, Craig, please, Craig, don't do it. Don't do it, Craig. Please, think of the children, Craig. And then you did it anyway. I'm just so bummed out about this because if you know me, you know that I love Stuff for the Children by Craig DeLuey. Stunning. The most beautiful piece of like horror fiction. Like, it's so good. If you haven't checked out Stuff for the Children, you need to do that. Okay? Forget this. This is trash. Don't read this. Stuff for the Children, you need to read. Anyway, So in case you don't know what this is about this like couple. They're like married, they're like in love or whatever. The husband is like super into ghosts and like super into like the paranormal. His whole life mission is to prove that ghosts exist, okay? So he's like, let's go, honey, let's go find ghosts and stuff. And then his wife, who is like a scientist, is like, I'll go with you, I guess, but I'm not gonna be like too happy about it. It's like the whole thing with them is like, he's like a believer. He's like a believer. She's not believing, okay? Like at all. She doesn't believe in ghosts or the paranormal, but he fully does. It is his entire gig. And at the beginning of the novel, we know that they're still shooting season 1 and they're doing episode 13 in this like crazy house or whatever that's like super famous for being haunted. And we also know that the wife is thinking about quitting and like doing her own thing and being like a scientist somewhere else, like not with ghosts. And things go from there. I'm gonna tell you, the first half of this book is so good. The first half, amazing, so good. The characters are perfect. You're just like, you're interested in what's going on. You're interested in like, in seeing like how things are gonna change. There's like these twists and turns where certain characters like reveal things about themselves and like, it's so good. And then the second half of the novel, it takes a turn in like plot wise that like just makes everything so unnecessarily confusing. It's giving House of Leaves, but for poor people. Like that was the vibe I got and I really didn't like it. Please let me know in the comments if you did like this, because I want to know what you like about it, specifically in the latter half, because it wasn't my favorite. I am going to get rid of this. Next up, we're going to talk about this book, which I honestly forgot that I read, which isn't great. And that is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. This is a YA fantasy like romance moment. Why in the name of Lucifer did I read this month? I have no idea. So Mina, right? She's like a brother. Some people do have brothers, and she has a brother, and he's like in love with this like really hot girl, right? Every like 7 years, their village sacrifices like the most beautiful girl in the village to the sea god, because they're convinced that the sea god is like angry with them for some reason. Constantly they're like, we need to make it up to this god, otherwise like it'll be over for us. So every 7 years, or maybe it's every year, I can't remember, they sacrifice a girl. And so this year they're gonna sacrifice Mina's brother's hot girlfriend. So like Mina's brother's hot girlfriend is about to be like, well, you know, like unalived, as the TikTok children say. But Mina is like, I cannot let this happen. Like, my brother will be devastated. First of all, actually, I do think it's kind of weird to be like that, like selfless for your family. But like, maybe that's just me. Like, if I had a brother and they were like, my hot girlfriend, I'd be like, okay, well, too bad. Like, we can't all have hot girlfriends, Tom. Get over it. Anyway, Mina comes up with like a plan to sacrifice herself in place of the hot girl. And she does. She literally, she dives into the water, into like the fucking whirlpool, and the whole village is like gagged. They're gooped, they're gasped. They are like, oh my God, the ugly girl sacrificed herself in place of the hot one. That's really like rude, but also like kind of nice for her. Mina gets down to like the spirit realm and she finds out that the sea god is not angry with them. He's just sleeping, which again would make me so mad. Like, we've been killing children and you're sleeping. It's literally so rude. Anyway, so that's what this is about. Overall, I want to say that it's like a very middle of the road kind of book. Like, I felt fine about all of it. Like, all of it was just fine. I loved the world building and like the magic system and like the lore. I thought it was all beautiful, whimsical, vivid. But other than that, I guessed the twist. The characters themselves weren't that interesting, to be honest. This is like a very simple thing for me to be just like, yeah, it's very much like a 3-star book. So Do you remember end of my last reading vlog? I think it was like a weekly vlog, and I was like, oh, I'm like in the middle of reading Priory of the Orange Tree. I'll let you know what I think of it when I finish it at the end of the month. Do you remember that? If you don't remember that, that's fine. But I thought I should let you know that I never did finish Priory of the Orange Tree. I know that I have about 6 or 7 hours left of the audiobook. I didn't finish it. So let me explain, okay? I got quite sick after filming that reading vlog. I had like a whole stomach thing. It was real fucked up. It was real gross. I didn't really read anything for like a week because like while I was sick, I was like, I don't want to read. I don't feel like it. So I just didn't. And then after I got better, I still didn't feel like reading. If I'm being honest with you, Jennifer, Jonathan, Rachel, I've been in like a reading slump, and it's currently I think the 6th or the 7th of March today, and I'm still technically reading this. I haven't finished it, and I haven't picked up anything else. So if you know of any books that are like a guaranteed like reading slump buster, like something to like really push my ass out of this hole, I would fucking appreciate it, okay? I would appreciate it so goddamn much. I would love it. Please tell me of any reading slump busters. I need them, please. Because I, quite honestly, have no motivation for it whatsoever. It's that feeling where you want to want it, but you just don't. I need something that's gonna just like bing, 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 you know, bing bong or whatever. So thank you if you do leave me like a little recommendation. I really appreciate that. Anyway, I do really like this. I do really fucking like it. I love Iad. I think she's such a cool character. I'm so interested in like the world building, especially with like the dragons and the worms. Like I love it. The moment I stop reading it, wild horses could not drag me back into reading it. You know that feeling where like you're really enjoying a book, but it's not pulling you back into it. Do you know what I mean? When you are reading it, you do like it. The moment you're not reading it, you forget it exists, or you think about picking it up again and you're like, whatever. Like it's that kind of vibe. It's a bummer. Anyway, next up I have my Patreon book club pick, which in February was How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. If you're interested in joining the Patreon, there's always a link down below. Go ahead and check it out. We do reading sprints. There's exclusive content. It's crazy, okay? How to Sell a Haunted House is like, it's not exactly what you think. Like looking at this cover, you're like, oh, it's just a ghost story. No. I and everyone else who read this book when it came out expected a ghost story, and really what we got was like a puppet / like doll creepy story. So just be aware of that. Like don't go into this and be like, ghosts are cool. It's not a ghost story. It's like about like a possessed doll type of situation. So just be aware of that. There's a lot about this that I really, really love, that I really, really like, which by the way, also, if you don't know what this is about, basically it's about this brother and sister. They find out that their family home is being haunted, being possessed by some kind of doll, some kind of puppet. Things get crazy. There's a lot I like, there's a lot I don't like. What I do like is how at times funny and self-aware the book is. Grady Hendrix really had the little bird brain moment of being like, what if I had a taxidermy squirrel nativity scene come to life to try to murder someone? He thought that, and then he put it in the book. So things like that, I love. I love all of the big moments. Like there's a moment with like a needle, there's a moment with like a saw, like there's all of these moments that are just fucking wild. Loved those. What I hated, to be honest, was the main characters. Like in the beginning of the book, I was like, fuck you, Mark. You're disgusting. I hate you. You don't deserve to be happy. And then literally the second half of the book, I was like, fuck you, Louise. You like entitled, spoiled bitch. Like I hated both of the characters so much. They're both awful human beings. They're both terrible. And not only that, I will say that like the antagonist of the book it gets tired. It gets old really, really, really fast. But overall, I would say that this is like a 4-star read. Like, it's good, but it's not like great. Okay, we have 2 books left. One of them is a book that I read, I think in January, and I literally forgot to talk about it in my wrap up. So I'm going to talk about it here. And that is Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is a literary horror novel. Maybe it's like a romance. I'm not sure what genre this is, to be honest. It's absolutely gorgeous. Oh my God, dude. I picked this up quite randomly, to be honest, and then was like amazed, blown away. The book is told through, I think, the second person perspective, where our main character is writing a letter or talking to Dracula, who in the beginning of the novel, she reveals that she has killed Dracula, and she's like writing like this whole thing being like, I had to kill you, blah. And it's basically about Dracula's wives. It's so good. It's so good. Like, first of all, the audiobook. Audiobook is like ASMR scrumdiddlyumptiousness. Like, it's so good. Like, listening to the audiobook, I was like, oh my God, I could literally just like fall asleep. I could just pass out right now. It's gorgeous. And the writing is also stunning. This is how the book begins. I never dreamed it would end like this, my lord. Your blood splashing hot flecks onto my nightgown and pouring in rivulets onto our bedchamber floor. But creatures like us live a long time. There is no horror left in this world that can surprise me. Eventually, even your death becomes its own sort of inevitability. It's stunning. I loved everything about it, except there's this weird bonus chapter at the end that's basically just like an orgy scene. It's like basically just fan service, and I didn't like it. I was like, there's no point to this. I hate this so much. I hate it so much. Other than that, so good. Beautiful. 10 out of 10. If you haven't checked this out, if you haven't read it, you need to read it. You need to. It's the law. Brittany, the last book that I'm going to talk about today in my February wrap up is, of course, The Spite House by Johnny Compton. I'm gagged. Never would I have thought like, oh my gosh, The Spite House is gonna be a 5-star read for me. The moment I saw the cover, I was like, whatever. The moment I heard about it, I was like, whatever. Like, I never really put that much into it. I never put any stock into it, you know what I mean? And then I read it. Tiffany, I read it. I was blown away. This is about this guy named Eric. Okay, Eric and his 2 children, his 2 daughters. One of them is like 18, the other one is like 6 or 4 or something. They're on the run. They don't want to be seen by anyone. They don't want to be recognized by anyone. And Eric is doing everything he can to like make ends meet. Eric sees this ad in the newspaper, and it's like, hey, do you want to stay in a haunted house? You should stay in my haunted house. I'll give you $100,000. And so Eric is like, $100,000. Are you joking? Easy money. Easy money. And so Eric is, hi, how are you? Yeah. I heard, I like read your ad and I'm so interested. I would be like, I would die. I would love to stay in your haunted house for $100,000. And the person who owns the house, whose name is like Eunice or something, she's like, yes, come. We'll like interview you or whatever. Also, it's like not dangerous for children at all. And lo and behold, Eric gets the job. Eric gets to stay in the house, and he gets to stay in the house with his children. He takes them in with him because, you know, Eunice was like, it's not dangerous for children. Eunice is a fucking liar, by the way. And so begins this crazy book. Like, I started it and I had no idea that it was going to end the way it did. I did guess like the twist, but at the same time, I don't even care because it was so much fun. It was like fast paced. It kept me completely engaged. Like, I read this basically in a single day because I was hooked from page 1 with these characters, with their stories, with their history. Oh my God, dude, the history. Don't even get me started on the history. The world building, the magic system is so interesting. I love it so much. And I can't recommend that you read this enough. Like, you need to read this. You need to check it out. It's so good. It's genuinely creepy. And it's a lot of fun. My friends, my family, my familia. Thank you so much for watching this video, for being here today with me. Thank you. It's been so good to see you. I've missed you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to hit subscribe because we talk about spooky shit. We talk about creepy shit. We talk about the Priory of the Orange Tree and the Spite House and shit. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them. I would love to know. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Au revoir. Au revoir, darling. Goodbye, Tiffany. Goodbye, Raven. Goodbye, Jonathan. Goodbye, Jacob. Bye.